London, 1888. A city at the height of the Industrial Revolution, where progress and poverty walked hand in hand. The streets were alive with the clatter of horse-drawn carriages and the hum of machinery. Yet beneath this bustling surface, a darker story unfolded, a city shrouded in fog and fear. The thick, choking mist that rolled in from the Thames seemed to seep into the very soul of the city, casting long shadows and creating an atmosphere of perpetual twilight. It was a place where the line between day and night blurred, and the unknown lurked around every corner. The Industrial Revolution churned, drawing souls to the sprawling metropolis. Factories belched smoke into the sky, and the promise of work brought thousands to the city. Yet for many, this promise was a cruel illusion. The factories were places of relentless toil where men, women, and even children labored for endless hours in dangerous conditions. Life bustled, but beneath the veneer, poverty festered. The wealth generated by industry was concentrated in the hands of a few, while the masses lived in squalor. Overcrowded tenements, with their crumbling walls and leaking roofs, were home to entire families. Disease was rampant, and the struggle for survival was a daily reality. In Whitechapel, darkness clung to cobblestones, and whispers travelled down gas-lit alleys. This district, one of the poorest in London, was a maze of narrow streets and hidden corners. It was a place where the desperate and the destitute sought refuge, and where the shadows seemed to have a life of their own. This was the hunting ground of a nightmare. The name Jack the Ripper would soon become synonymous with terror, as a series of brutal murders shocked the city. The killer's identity remained a mystery, and fear gripped the hearts of those who walked these streets. The stench of poverty was overpowering. The air was thick with the smell of unwashed bodies, rotting food, and the ever-present smoke from coal fires. It was a sensory assault that spoke of the harsh realities of life in the slums. Open sewers overflowing with waste choked the air. These foul-smelling channels ran through the streets, carrying away the refuse of daily life, but also spreading disease. Cholera and typhoid were constant threats, and the lack of sanitation was a grim reminder of the city's underbelly. Drunken brawls and cries of destitution echoed through the night. The pubs and taverns of Whitechapel were places of temporary escape, where the downtrodden sought solace in drink. But these moments of respite often ended in violence, as frustration and hopelessness boiled over. Life was cheap in Whitechapel, and death, it seemed, even cheaper. The streets were littered with the evidence of human suffering, and the spectre of death was never far away. In this dark heart of London, the struggle for existence was a battle fought in the shadows. From the shadows, a predator emerged. Jack the Ripper, they called him, a faceless terror who stalked the night, preying on the most vulnerable. His weapon, a blade, swift and merciless. He moved like a phantom, leaving behind a trail of unimaginable horror. His victims, women forgotten and discarded by society. Their lives brutally extinguished, their bodies left as gruesome warnings. Imagine, if you will, a thick, impenetrable fog rolling in from the Thames. The fog is so dense that it swallows the city whole, turning familiar streets into a labyrinth of shadows and whispers. The River Thames, usually a bustling artery of life, now seems like a ghostly ribbon winding its way through a city lost in time. The gaslights struggle to pierce the darkness, casting long, distorted shadows that dance and writhe. These flickering lights are the only beacons in a sea of grey, their feeble glow barely illuminating the cobblestone streets. The shadows they cast seem almost alive, twisting and turning as if they have a mind of their own. The air is heavy, pregnant with a chilling dampness that seeps into your bones. Each breath feels like inhaling a cold, wet blanket, and the moisture clings to your skin, making every step feel laborious. The fog muffles the sounds of the city, creating an eerie silence that is occasionally broken by the distant clatter of a horse-drawn carriage or the echoing footsteps of a passer-by. The year is 1888, and this is Whitechapel, a place where the past and present seem to collide, where history is etched into every brick and cobblestone. The streets are narrow and winding, a maze that has seen centuries of human drama unfold. It's a place of stark contrasts, where wealth and poverty exist side by side, and where the fog seems to hold secrets of its own. A lone woman walks these treacherous streets, Her footsteps echo softly in the fog, a solitary sound in an otherwise silent night. She clutches her shawl tightly around her shoulders, trying to ward off the cold and the fear that gnaws at her insides. Each step she takes is filled with a sense of urgency, as if she knows that danger lurks just around the corner. She is desperate, her life a tapestry of hardship and misfortune. Her face is etched with worry, her eyes darting nervously as she navigates the fog-choked streets. She is one of many who have been swallowed by the city's relentless grind, a victim of circumstances beyond her control. Her story is one of survival, of doing whatever it takes to make it through another day. Little does she know she has become the prey in a deadly game. A shadowy figure lurks behind her, moving with a predatory grace. He is a phantom in the fog, a dark presence that seems to blend seamlessly with the night. His eyes are fixed on her, his intentions clear. She's unaware of the danger that stalks her, oblivious to the fact that her every move is being watched. A shadow follows her, keeping to the darkness, his breath misting in the cold night air. He moves silently, a ghostly figure that seems to materialize out of the fog itself. His breath forms small clouds in the frigid air, a fleeting sign of life in an otherwise lifeless night. He is patient, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, to claim another victim in his macabre game. Tonight, another soul will be claimed by the darkness. The fog, the shadows, and the silence all conspire to create a perfect storm of fear and uncertainty. The city itself seems to hold its breath, as if it knows that something terrible is about to happen. In this fog-choked night, the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the darkness becomes an all-consuming force, ready to swallow another soul whole. Polly Nichols, a woman worn down by life's cruel hand, became the Ripper's first victim. Her throat slashed open, a testament to the savage brutality that would become the killer's signature. Annie Chapman, just days later, met a similarly gruesome fate. The Ripper's bloodlust was escalating, his methods becoming more brazen, more depraved. The city was gripped by terror. Section 5. Unmasking the monster, a fool's errand? Who was this monster? The question plagued the minds of Londoners and law enforcement alike. Theories abounded, fingers pointed. A butcher, a doctor, perhaps a man of wealth hiding a dark secret? Each suspect scrutinized, each lead ending in a frustrating dead end. The Ripper, it seemed, was a phantom, vanishing into thin air after each horrific act. Section 6. The Whitechapel Vigilantes. Fear turned to anger. The people of Whitechapel, tired of living in terror, formed vigilante groups. They patrolled the streets, armed with whatever they could find, determined to bring the monster to justice. But the Ripper was always one step ahead, his knowledge of the city's underbelly seemingly unparalleled. He was a predator who knew the hunting ground better than his prey. Section 7. Fear and frustration in the ranks. Scotland Yard, overwhelmed and outmaneuvered, faced mounting pressure. The newspapers, fueled by the public's thirst for answers, ran wild with speculation. Every theory, every rumor only deepened the mystery. The police chased shadows, each gruesome discovery a reminder of their failure to protect the innocent. The Ripper had become a macabre symbol of their impotence. From hell, a macabre postcard. Amid the chaos, a chilling message arrived at the central news agency. "From hell," it read, accompanied by a gruesome promise to continue the reign of terror. Was this the Ripper taunting the authorities, or a cruel prankster adding fuel to the inferno of fear? The line between reality and nightmare blurred with every passing day. Was it the doctor, or perhaps the barber? Suspects emerged from the fog of suspicion. A prominent doctor, known for his anatomical knowledge, fell under scrutiny. A Polish immigrant fleeing justice became the face of fear. Even a humble barber, his daily routine eerily coinciding with the Ripper's disappearances, wasn't spared. Each accusation, each investigation ended in a frustrating lack of concrete evidence. The Ripper, it seemed, was a master manipulator, leaving behind a trail of false leads and shattered lives. The Ripper vanishes. The mystery remains. Then, as abruptly as it began, the killing spree stopped. The Ripper vanished back into the shadows, leaving behind a city forever scarred and a mystery that would baffle generations to come. Was he ever caught? Did he simply tire of his gruesome game? Or did death, that ever-present spectre in Whitechapel, finally claim him too? Will we ever truly know? The question echoes through the ages, a haunting reminder of the mysteries that remain unsolved. The fog has long since lifted, but the questions linger. The streets of London, once shrouded in mist, now reveal their secrets only to those who dare to look closely. Jack the Ripper remains an enigma, his true identity lost to the annals of time. Despite countless theories and investigations, the truth remains elusive, hidden in the shadows of history. He became a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface and the vulnerability of those society chooses to forget. The women he targeted were often marginalized, their lives deemed less valuable by the society they lived in. So the next time you find yourself walking down a dimly lit street, remember the tale of Jack the Ripper. Think of the fear that gripped the hearts of Londoners, the uncertainty that loomed over every dark corner, for in the shadows history whispers and sometimes monsters are real. The story of Jack the Ripper is not just a tale of horror, but a reflection of the society that allowed such darkness to thrive. It is a reminder that the past is never truly gone and that the echoes of history can still be heard if we listen closely. The investigation into Jack the Ripper's identity was one of the most extensive of its time, involving numerous detectives and countless hours of work. Yet despite their efforts, the killer slipped through their fingers, leaving behind only questions and fear. Today, the legend of Jack the Ripper continues to captivate and terrify. Tours retrace his steps, books and films explore his crimes, and the mystery remains as compelling as ever. Will we ever truly know who he was? Perhaps not. But the search for answers keeps the story alive, a dark chapter in the history of London that refuses to be closed.